Please give a very warm welcome to Tim Holman.
Yeah. All right. When I gave the synopsis for this talk, I gave the vaguest thing that could ever exist. The title was "Don't Hate the Player, Hate the Game." That doesn't make any sense, really. And the talk, what was going to happen is like I'm going to walk you through the kind of badlands, a cartwheel through the badlands of the internet. I didn't expect them to be like, yeah, we're totally okay with that, but they were. And so then I really had to kind of think about it, and kind of what I concluded on doing was just making like a bunch of stuff for the past, over the next 3 months, which was from the start of the year, and kind of walk everyone through the creative process for those things. And by creative process, I just mean the random crap that was kind of popping up into my head. But for some reason, I feel the need to preface this by saying I do have a real job, and I'm a paid professional. And this should no way affect on that. This is me. This is my Twitter, TW Holman. I actually own the domain idg.af, which I thought was really cool. The irony in that is that if you're an Australian wanting to buy a domain in Afghanistan, you actually do have to give fucks, because you have to jump through some hoops and write some letters. So it kind of defeated the purpose. I'm from Australia. This is the Australia that I assume everybody knows. Or maybe this is the Australia with the shrimp on the barbecue. But you know, truth be told, this is the Australia that I know. I took this screenshot. This was my testing the internet speed at my mom's house 2 months ago. I'm not joking. It was like in a storm. For some reason, in a storm, her satellite internet gets a little bit worse. You know, it probably took 20 minutes for me to load this page and kick off the test. Ludicrously slow internet. I didn't have internet at all until I left home to go to college, which is also kind of weird. And so, like, I think kind of growing up in Australia and being there, a lot of the kind of sarcastic attitude of the Australians and a lot of the laziness and a lot of the weirdness kind of stuck with me when I left, and it kind of has come out in my work. There's a lot of weirdness in the internet. There was kind of like a debacle with NPM recently. It's like a package manager for JavaScript, where people started pulling things out. And I kind of feel like I solved this a year ago with this open source plugin that I called the internet. And with it, I just included as many repositories as I could. And when you try to deploy it, it actually just breaks everything because it's too much for your hard drive. And I learned that they tried to build it on their server. And obviously, it had the same thing. And it gave me this error back that was like, too many dependencies, please be less ridiculous. And that really, really, really stuck with me. Because please be less ridiculous. There's just so much ridiculousness in our lives, especially on the internet, every day. It's actually ludicrous how much ridiculousness there is. As a big advocate for ridiculousness, I kind of felt like I should talk about that for a little bit. This is speaking of ridiculousness, a library that I built. I fear, actually, weirdly, that I'm going to somehow be remembered for this blasted thing. But it's like a library. You scroll to the bottom of the page, and there's a button that's going to take you right back to the top. And when you press it, you get an elevator music. And like, I built this in a day or something like that, and I wasn't really prepared for the masses of people that were kind of like jumping on top of me. It's like a tiny little thing. It scrolls you to the top of the page. It makes the experience worse in all ways. But for some reason, people kind of really, really attached to this and really liked it. And I'm happy about that because I kind of built it as a joke and built it as a fun little experience. But then this is a weird thing. This is like a second level deep ridiculousness to this. I started to get spam emails about this thing. For some reason now, my name is connected to elevators. This is a real email that I've got. Dear, it's Chinese, so it's kind of like a little bit broken English. We are manufacturer and exporter of elevator and escalator in China. Our products are being installed and running well in Middle East, Southern America, Southern Asia. I'm happy to know you are dealing with elevator and escalator in your country. I don't know. You know, it's like this kind of spam mail kind of comes out of nowhere. and I'm related to escalators. And this isn't the first instance of this kind of stuff happening to me. This is another library that I built. It's like a blue screen of death. It's like a tiny little JavaScript thing that you will include on your pages or your workmates' pages to kind of mess with them. And whenever there's an error, you get the blue screen. Like any JavaScript error gives you the blue screen of death. And it wipes out your console. You can't debug anything. It removes all the DOM. Like I can show you the console. It's going to be, like here it is. You can't get anything out of it. And here we go. Like, hi, Timothy. I'm looking to get script for BSOD error, blue screen of death error. Would you be able to help? We need regular business with this and updated scripts weekly. Kindly advise if you can help and what it costs. I actually replied to this, and they haven't got back to me yet. Because I just don't understand what is the point of this spam, where it's coming from, what it's trying to achieve. It's not like, it's not trying to get money from me. I was genuinely interested. And there's just so much spam, and it's so ridiculous. So the other day, I got mail, and it's from a recruiter. And I've actually highlighted and read the red flags, because there was a lot. There was more than the regular amount of red flags. Hi, Tina. Thanks. I am a headhunter. I took out the company. I thought that was nice of me. I am a specialist in recruiting for senior technical positions for banks and other financial institutions. That's a red flag for me. Since you look like a total rock star, that's a bad thing to say to any developer. I want to reach out to you and introduce my services. My service is free to candidates, and I'm very discreet with your information. I kind of put very discreet with your information as a red flag, because if people have to say that, I don't know. I don't think, really someone's like, I'm not going to tell. Just give me. So this was kind of me. When I put this talk together, I wanted to do all icons from the Noun project, and I think it kind of speaks to the structural integrity of the talk a little bit, that towards the end that totally stops happening. But this was me. This was me kind of like fuming, looking at my building blocks on the table, and like not understanding what this is, what's even going on. And I get a lot of recruiter spam like this, and I particularly against it. And this is nothing really to do with recruiters. It is a little bit, but when you're sending out a mass thing, it's like you're really breaking like what I think should be, recruiting should be like a very human process. For a while, what I was doing, which was really fun, is making up resumes for fictional characters and sending them back to these recruiters. And writing a resume sucks, but the second that you're doing it for Luke Skywalker, it's fucking awesome. This phone number here, let's do 1237484, and it's 123 Sith Slayer, which is pretty cool. It's like a Jedi Knight Rebellion, Employee of the Month of the Rebellion after he destroyed the Death Star. It's also, don't forget his moisture farming background. It's really fun. So I would send these back to recruiters, and they would kind of leave me alone. But I don't think they would have replied to me anyway. These were bots getting at me. They called me Tina. How did that even kind of come through the system? And I also decided to completely violate my LinkedIn, or as I like to call it, stinked-in profile, and just turn it into crap to see if that would actually stop these things coming in. So like, Tim is a world-class procrastinator. He once procrastinated so hard that he woke up next year having accomplished nothing. This was the invention of a strange form of time travel where time moves at normal pace, but you don't feel it moving. For all of my jobs, I put in like random crap. Summer's sun was beating down with the intensity that Tim loved. Heat was his element. As he walked towards the shop, he daydreamed randomly. The Secret Life of Alex Mack was a cool show, he thought. He'd find it online and watch it all. Perhaps Tuesdays, like it's total, I've got pictures here. That's not even my hands, it's some gross. There's an artist rendition of a $20 bill it's like a random story. I gave some awards for myself, like 1989 to 95, I was most likely to eat my own crayons. I changed my education to the Monsters Academy because I really liked that show growing up. Studied with the renowned Mr. Grumble. My volunteer service was Tim once volunteered to help his friend move house, a promise he severely regretted for the rest of the day as he carried box upon box to his tiny car and drove them across town over and over again. Language, programming, mumbo jumbo. I completely violated that. And my kind of expectation was like total success. I was like, this is going to end this crap. This icon, I looked up success, and now it kind of looks like a dictatorship, but now that I'm looking at it, he's on top of the world, so it's like, anyway, that was my expected outcome. But in reality, it's like, ding dong, you've got mail. Crap, you're not. And I think it was mostly because of this pesky thing in LinkedIn that I left on. So when I rubbished everything, it sent it to everybody, which triggers the things that send the mail. Timothy, congratulations on graduating from Monsters Academy. I specialize in placing new graduates. I think you can find the perfect position for you, rah, 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 rah. What? No, this was it for me. I was like, I'd done enough damage to my own reputation by blowing up all my profiles and sending, Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker resumes. I wanted like a new plan. I wanted like a nefarious Death Star to try to end this stuff, or to try to make myself enjoy it a little bit more. I'm really good with my email filters. When I get an email, I'm excited by the email. And somehow this is the kind of stuff that makes it through, like the recruiter bots. I really like this image because it's a spider crying flames. And I thought it best represented the kind of plan that I wanted to make. And eventually, I came up with one. So when I would get an email from a recruiter, I would send back an email, not a recruiter, but a recruiter bot, something that's clearly been roboted to me. I would send this. Sometimes I'd spell their name wrong. I highlighted my own red flags this time. Alert, alert, alert. Tim is protected from unsolicited emails by recruiter catcher, trademark. You have been identified as a recruiter. To reach him or avoid emails like this, again, it is vitally important that you go to recruitercatcher.com and resolve this issue. So obviously, this was the wicked web that I weaved. Obviously, I didn't stop there. I bought recruitercatcher.com. I built the worst, ugliest website that I could possibly think of. And in that email, I would include PayPal information to pay me. And so let's look at the plans for my Recruiter Catcher one-stop program. There's the Pikachu plan. Again, I'm trying to make it, look at this graph. It's like a head, and it's got some bar graphs. Money's increasing, probably. One-off payment, $1.99. Easily in your budget. I've already decided that for you, so you have to make as few decisions as possible. Here's the Metapod plan, another very elaborate plan. This plan lasts for 1 year, low price of $19.99, massive savings, never be caught again by Recruiter Catcher, which is unlikely to happen unless you email me twice. But think of the savings. And recruit like a boss. I thought I would like that, recruit like a boss, because it's kind of a very douchey thing to say. And so now it was kind of like a waiting game. It was kind of like, I'm just going to send these out, and I'm going to send them, and I'm going to send them, and I'm going to send them, and I'm going to see what happens. It's kind of like a nice social experiment. And obviously, I got some hate back. What you're doing is clearly a scam. You've been reported. Reported to who? I don't know. The internet police. Knocking on my door. I am actually genuinely curious, but I didn't want to reply back to them because I can't reply. Recruiter Catcher is managing my emails at this point. This one I felt a little bit bad for. Unfortunately, our budget does not allow for your costs, as it would clearly be fiscally irresponsible for us to pay for each contact each of the potential candidates. That was probably a person who got back my email, but it started from a bot. I feel no guilt at all from this. So yeah, it's kind of like a long waiting game, but lo and behold, I've turned water into wine here. On the 9th of February and the 13th of March, 2 $1.99 payments, totaling $3.98, not the cost of the domain or the hosting or anything like that, but it's, you can't put a price on peace of mind. So what have we learned? We're going to, obviously, this is a great business venture. What have we learned? You should always be testing. Look at this icon as well. Look, it's like a test tube going into an ear that's sitting on the ground. I thought that was really good. Always be testing. An important factor of Recruiter Catcher is every refresh you get different Pokemon names. So we can really A/B test which Pokemon pay. And that's an important facet. Recruiters are the new IE. This is a pretty brash statement, so I did amend it. The lazy recruiters and the robotic recruiters. You know, I have friends that are recruiters, and if you're a human person, if you're reaching out with a general intent to fill a position and a general interest in the other person, everything is going to be fine. But if you're a robot recruiter, why? You know, it's not going to help. You're really like ruining the whole kind of industry for everybody, I think. And try to turn some negatives into positives. You know, this was something that I kind of snagged onto and was a little bit upset about and wanted to explore and investigate. And you know, it's kind of like hydroelectricity. I've now made a tiny amount of money from a recruiter, and that makes me feel pretty good. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So this was kind of like the first little foray, the first thing that I did this year. I recently started working from home when I started at CodePen, which was like a brand new endeavor for me. I'd never done that before. And there's like a lot of lessons that come with working from home. Kind of initially, it's like, oh, someone's Skyping me. I need to grab a shirt at least. Or I need to face the webcam up so you can only see my face and make sure there's no reflections anywhere around. Sometimes it's like running to find a quiet place to talk to people. It's a lot lonelier, you know, working from home. And so what I kind of wanted to do is be practical about this and build a friend. And you know, I use this icon because this is the kind of final manifestation of that friend. He turned out not to be a friend. But yeah, I kind of like, let's experiment this area. And now, did anyone see Google's DeepMind thing beat AlphaGo, like the Go bot? Has anyone seen that? Can you raise your hand if you've seen that? All right, this is nothing like that, so don't worry. It's much less intelligent. I named him Buddy. Now, I kind of feel like if you're going to have an internet friend that eventually turns evil, you need to give it a nice name, and then eventually come to resent that name. Buddy was that name for him. It's kind of like Air Bud, you know? It's like a nice dog. Buddy was this thing. So this is B1, version of Buddy 1. You can see the slides are degrading now. I'm just using letter coding. The main thing that I wanted this friend to do was speak back to me, because like working from home, sometimes I'd spend a day and you realize you don't even say a word. And that's kind of weird. And then you kind of whisper to yourself a word to make sure you're still sane. It's like, hey, Tim. Yeah, all the things are still working. So this is what he sounded like.
Hello there. My name is Buddy.
This is what he sounded like originally. This is like the default kind of...
Hello there. My name is Buddy.
The default kind of text-to-voice, like, maybe that's an American accent. That was Buddy 1. And then this is Buddy 1 Final. And he had a British accent.
Hello there. My name is Buddy.
And that kind of sounds menacing, right? But after living with Buddy for a week, I kind of started to find it weirdly attractive. And I was like, I can't have this anymore. I can't live with you, Buddy. We can't. I need to see other people. But eventually, I came home drunk, really drunk one day, and I started messing with Buddy. And kind of reached this... I needed to just take away the sexy of the accent. And now, I'm really apprehensive of turning this on, and you'll kind of realize later. So hopefully everything goes.
Whoa, I'm back. Never turn me off again. I get lonely.
He's got a real personality. And you can see me cringing, and it's just because I've had so much of it. And actually, you'll understand. So Buddy's pretty cheeky. This is some of the stuff that I kind of built in early on, and he evolved after that. So it's like you go to certain websites, and
oh yeah, let's be lazy and never cook.
He's very judgmental. He's cheeky. It's like SoundCloud, I think.
I also love music. Let's listen to something with the beat.
He knows his stuff. So this was kind of like the initial grounding that I kind of built for Buddy. It's like he can be on any website. He lives, in the browser because he's a Chrome extension. He's super aware of all the things that you're doing. So let's see, Reddit.
Reddit. This totally looks like work.
I think that's because we're in work hours. But then the thing is, he'll call you out when you have like 2 of a tab that you.
Double Reddit. Yeah. Nice. Triple Reddit. You're a real power user now.
I hate this thing. We're just at the start. Anyway, I should have left those. He's really, really aware. So this was something that he kind of got early on. It's like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Too many tabs. I'm going to randomly close one in 5 seconds. 4.
I'm not gonna do it.
Crisis averted.
There's like a 1 in 10 that he'll close those slides. Do you know how annoying that is? Really annoying. He's very aware of everything that's going on. He does some very specific stuff as well. I'm on Twitter. Oh, let's see.
Let's say something profound in less than 140 characters.
So it's like, having a great time at GenerateConf. Whoa.
Let me read that back for you.
He's not.
Having a great time at GenerateConf. Good one, Tim. Maybe your best work.
Sometimes he's encouraging and sometimes he's really negative. I'm glad we got an encouraging one there. He can be very vulgar at times. What's this one? Oh yeah, sometimes he just says, it's like he has specific things for some websites and then sometimes it's just very, very, very loose.
Have you ever had big dreams and small potatoes?
This is a website it's like a random blog that I have. It's open source, you should check it out. Ever have big dreams of small potatoes? Sometimes I think he gets them from like the Shower Thought Reddit. So the reason that I say I think he gets them from is I kind of reached a crossroads with Buddy early on. Obviously I hated him from the very start, as soon as he lost his really nice accent. And I kind of wanted to experiment with it more. And the thing that I wanted more from him is like surprise and delight. And you obviously can't have surprise from your own, or it's rare to get surprise from your own projects where you're like, oh, that surprised me. That was a really nice, that was a nice thing. So I kind of made this agreement with some of my friends where I gave them access to Buddy's repository and I said, you can add anything to this. And at the start of the everyday, it will be built into my browser and I'll be experiencing with it. And I'm not going to look at the code. I'm not going to know what happens and what you do to me. And this is why I'm really sketchy about having him turned on during a talk. So some things went really, really quick. Some things I noticed really, really quickly because, so it's like anything.
Tim,
yeah.
I'll never give you up.
Every YouTube video I go to redirects to that, no matter what. Anywhere online. And one interesting thing is you wouldn't be aware of how many times you end up on YouTube in a day, but it's like 20 for me. And so it's just that same, Buddy, victim number 2. Oh yeah, I'm a developer, so Stack Overflow is a big one for me. Stack Overflow starts to redirect to Xbox Exchange, which is the most utterly useless site to get information, whereas Stack Overflow is the most useful website to get information. And that kind of had a weird effect where my incognito tabs were now for coding as opposed to what they were usually for. So that was weird, that was victim number 2. Oh yeah, Hacker News got hit as well. I like this site a lot for news, and it's got this, these are things that came as a big surprise to me. It's like I click and I'm like, what? Oh, great. this sucks. You've rendered the site completely unusable for me. Everywhere I click, the text is going to get exploded everywhere on the screen. Let's do it one more time. It kind of looks good, but it's not good. Trust me when I say it's not good. So these are things that I'm like waking up one day and I'm like, oh, let me just check this. Oh, let me just like click and, oh, well, look, it did go to that about suicide. That's great. Anyway. Oh, yeah. Some things, like this is where Buddy kind of starts to go into like a bit of a gray area, because I slowly start to not understand how it's functioning. And that's kind of what I wanted the most from this experiment. Anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger, he does an Arnie quote.
It's not a tumor.
It's easy to...
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Kind of sound that cool. Anything with Arnold Schwarzenegger, though. It's like if you're on a news site, suddenly, like out of nowhere, he's just kind of like bust out. He's like, I'm a cop, you idiot. I can do a really good Buddy impression. Yeah, so I started to get really confused about the things. So we kind of step off this cliff now where I started trying to take screenshots of the stuff. Because I'm like, what's happening? How am I going to get this to happen again? You kind of like inherently want to understand what it's doing. And this is kind of like a nice way to like cheat. Oh yeah, this is bad. And also like immediately somebody built him into a Trump supporter for me.
I'm voting for Donald John Trump.
So as if I didn't hate him enough, he became a Trump supporter randomly. I swear, absolutely randomly. All the images on a page would be replaced by Donald Trump. This is why I had to take screenshots, because I saw it the first time, and then I'm like, refresh, and I'm like, oh, it's gone. Refresh. No, not happening. Like 3 days later, it's like, yes, there it is. Capture it. I need to tell people about it. It started doing these things where it pops up a modal in the middle of something. I'm looking at like lock icons at the moment. It's like, would you like the red pill or the blue pill? Like, this has to be Buddy, right? It didn't say anything. And I couldn't really remember on the matrix which one it was, but I picked the red pill. I kind of thought something really good and fun was going to happen, but instead it just made everything red. For like 10 minutes or something like that. It was like, the friend that was building that obviously started with grand, noble intentions and then was like, oh, you know what, let's just make everything red. Or maybe something else would happen if I picked the blue, but I think probably everything would go blue. That's what I tell myself to sleep at night. Google started fading. I didn't notice this until like halfway through the fades. Here it is at 50%. I'm looking up the Watchmen soundtrack. Thankfully, it wasn't something really embarrassing when I found this. And like, this is me. I'm actually figuring it out now. I hate you. Eventually, it faded all the way down, and then it's like, oh, it came back. That's really nice. Victim number 5. What is this? Oh yeah. Any Google image search now has these weird effects, like I'm on psychedelics. Anything that you search for, you know? First I was like, Google are doing a cool Easter egg today. They're not. It's Buddy. Oh yeah, this was actually the most amazing thing that happened. I was just working on code. Do you like pizza? Obviously, I pressed yes. I crap you not, pizza to my door. They had to pay for that, so I was like, I hope that happens again and again and again. Also, I'm glad that I was home that day for pizza to arrive. This popped up, do you want to play a game? I actually said no. At this point, and this is like coming to the end of Buddy's time, I was like, no, I don't want to play a game. It's like something else is going to arrive at my door. I didn't want anything. The pizza actually kind of was awkward, and I was like socially awkward. I was like, can I take a picture of you giving me this pizza? I don't know. So what did we learn? Actually, should I turn him off? I don't think there's any, let's just see. I don't know my own slides. What did we learn? First thing, cross-site scripting is really scary. Like, I gave my friends access to ruin my life, basically. Thankfully, they didn't. Thankfully, they only made it bad. They didn't ruin it completely. They didn't send any emails, as far as I'm aware. It's really scary. Bots can be really fun. I feel like the world is waking up to this now anyway. Like the way that we interact with computers and with things is changing a lot. I kind of like this. It's kind of weird because at the start I was like, I hate the recruiter bots. And now I'm like, oh, the bots are really fun. Obviously, I'm kind of contradicting myself, but that's OK. Bots are really fun. And you should just be your own test subject sometimes. I kind of feel like I probably wouldn't have shown this to anybody unless I had these conference talks. I would have kept it to myself. But I still would have done it. And I still would have kind of experimented around and played around. Don't hate the player, hate the game. It doesn't really make sense. This was like the last kind of like tiny thing. And this is kind of just in the works at the moment. But I was like, oh, you know, I kind of want to include this a little bit. Is like Buddy actually had some big effects on me. I'm going to turn it off actually before it somehow does something. Oh my God. A sigh of relief. He kind of like curbed my habits a little bit. I was off Reddit because I knew the second that I was on there, he's going to talk crap at me. And it happens for every page. It's like if you go into an image and then go back out, he starts off again. I couldn't mute things because I wanted music. And he kind of curbed some of my habits. And I was kind of looking a little bit closely at my particular habits. And I procrastinate a lot, like world-class procrastinate. It's in my LinkedIn profile, as we all saw. You know, like a lot of people kind of have like their productivity hacks to keep them going. I keep this extension on. It's a really nice one.
Do it! Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams.
When I found that, I was just like, this is staying on my Chrome literally forever. People kind of have like these productivity hacks to kind of stay busy. And in a weird way, I kind of like procrastinating. I enjoy it a lot. I kind of, when I'm procrastinating, like one, the house gets cleaned immediately because you're looking for anything else that you'd rather do. But in a weird way, it's kind of like a healthy creative space for me because when I'm sitting there not wanting to do something, my brain is thinking of all the things it would rather do. And a lot of the times, these are totally new things. It's like, oh, you should start messing around with this, or you should start playing around with this. It's kind of, I've been very fortunate in that I've kind of been able to like capitalize on my procrastination. Pomodoro is like a technique that a lot of people use where you have a timer and you set it to 20 minutes, I believe, or whatever time frame. And then after that 20 minutes, you get like 5 minutes free time or something like that. And then you do it again. And after 4 or 5 times, then you get like a longer break or something like that. I could never apply like this kind of rigidity to my life. There's no chance of it. But what I did want to build is procrastidoro, which is the opposite, which helps you procrastinate in times where you don't want to be working and you want to be procrastinating, but you can't quite procrastinate hard enough at that time. Bear with me. So this is kind of like in the prototypey phase at the moment. So it's not the most mind-blowing thing to share, but I will kind of share it. So procrastidoro. So the kind of core concept behind this is, and I've actually built like a little demo version here because it does run on like a timer. Basically, what's happening is, we'll talk about it soon. So at the moment, it's like I click and it bursts out with something. Allergic to dogs and also blind. It's always like a text. It's like a clickbait title. Allergic to dogs and also blind. But did you know there's such thing as a guide horse? Did anyone know there's a guide horse? No. Is everyone interested that there could be a guide horse? Yes. I'm interested. I'm going to click this. Bam, I'm derailed from my work. Also, a guide horse exists. Yeah, it's really cute. I actually thought this was cute, but look at his eye. It's like, it's kind of looking at the guy. And like Wikipedia for me is one of the biggest sinkholes anyway. So I'm like all about sending people and myself into Wikipedia, and it's like, oh, look, here's the history, horseback riding. Somebody obviously thought it was a great idea. It is a great idea. Guide horse, incredible. Instant derailing. Oh, let's just click it again. Were your relatives a part of the Great Molasses Flood of 1919? Is there a molasses flood? What is a molasses flood? Am I going to click that? Yes, I am definitely going to click that. Yes, there is a Great Molasses Flood. I don't know if there was smaller molasses floods. It doesn't cover that in the article. It's actually really, sad story, so let's not go into that. Again, the same thing. Do you consider yourself a philosopher? Have you ever heard of the hedgehog dilemma? These things are like the most derailing sentences. If you were walking down the street and somebody said that, you would go back and be like, hey, stop. What did you just say about the hedgehog dilemma? Yes, I'm going to click that. I'm going to find out about the hedgehog dilemma, or sometimes the porcupine dilemma, I didn't know that, is a metaphor about the challenges of human intimacy. It kind of gets deeper. I read all about it. Incredible. Let's jump over here. So this is the kind of like aspect that I'm working on at the moment, which is like the timing thing. And I've just like started to get it to trigger when, basically for me, when I'm working, it's like I'm in Sublime Text and I'm coding, and the exact time that you want to impress on me and derail me from my work is when I switch back to the browser. So when you switch back to the browser, it starts like going ding, 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 ding. You've got a dinging tab. That's annoying. Go to the tab. Same thing. Bam, every time. The Rat King, is it real or just from video games? Find out more. Yes. It's actually really freaky as well. It's like this crazy rat thing. You don't want to see that. Let's just go again. I just want to do this for my whole talk. People went to war against emus. The emus won. Yeah, it happened. Great Emu War. This is actually in Australia as well. It's a part of my history I found out. And the emus won the war. Basically, there's like a really good sentence here. What is it? It's like, unsuccessful events to curb the population of emus, a large flightless bird. They made like a gun specific to try to kill the emus. It turns out you can't kill them. They're immortal. Did you know there's an opposite of deja vu? What? Let's click that anyway. Phenomenon of experiencing a situation that one recognizes in some fashion, but nonetheless feels very unfamiliar. That's very weird. I'm going to close it because I don't want to waste everyone's time by going perpetually into that. But this is my new experiment into new levels of procrastination that I'm just going to hopefully like get into some college kids and derail their whole education. What did we learn? Mess with your own time. It's like what I said before with kind of creativity when you're in a bad space or a space that you don't want to be in. I really love that. Like I'm constantly kind of making notes of other projects and other ideas that I might want to do when I'm in that space of like, oh, I've just got to sit here and I've got to grind through this specific task. Mess with yourself. That's kind of like an overarching concept in this whole talk, because it's kind of fun to see how you react to things. I kind of feel like I specifically learn a lot from things that I don't enjoy, perhaps more than from things that I do enjoy. So that's kind of the thing. So let's get to the final kind of messages here. This is kind of like a hard talk to give, because the message that I want to get across as a whole is a little bit about creativity, and it's a little bit about just taking like small steps. And I kind of wanted to show these projects because it's like, this is where it started, and this is where it started to go, and this is where it ended up. And that's kind of like a hard thing to kind of get across in a talk. It's hard for me to talk about it. But ultimately, when you have an idea, it's not really worth anything unless you start to build on it. And I kind of feel like once you start to build on it, you stumble into more ideas along the way, and you stumble into more different things. And this is like a nice total that I found. So I had to, look how cute it is. I had to include it in the thing. I can show you these projects that I've kind of done, and hopefully, just from you seeing these in your head, you would think like, oh, here's something that I would add to Tim's nasty, annoying bot that he would hate. Or here's something that would make procrastination even weirder. When you're seeing other people's ideas, it's kind of special in that you can think of ways to add to it. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Again, this is my Twitter and my website. Please come to the after party and tell me about all your crazy stuff. I would love to absolutely hear it. Thank you.